Hello, everybody. It is, let's see, 3 p.m. Tuesday, May 10th, 2016. Holy cow, we are in May already. Unbelievable. Okay, so, hey, Praetorian, Garlando Bloom, sub. Phildo 3, hello everyone. NCATM, welcome, right on time. And let me take a second and just post on Twitter, let everyone know that we are now live. So a few things that I want to talk about. First, anyway, I had this conversation on Twitter, maybe some of you guys saw it, and I was kind of talking about hey, Garrett, Bronchiopator, Ray March, hello. And it was that, anyway, I was just kind of wondering why a lot of developers don't do streaming, and like a lot of people kind of, so there are a number of reasons for this, because I was used to think Twitch was pretty intimidating and not this like I thought it was for playing games, but then I started doing it and I found it to be really just the best platform to talk about development of the game. You know, like on Twitter, I'm always people ask me what the game is about, and I gotta like send them a link to something, or I gotta do a video, or just try to explain in 140 characters, and it never works. Hey, White Rice and Scientist. But on Twitch, people come in and just like I show them what the game is. And also, when I read the article by Gary Newman talking about how, you know, he doesn't do shows, and he's in a bit of a special situation, right? Like, Gary's mod came out when there were like 2 games on Steam, but still, just sort of doing cons are so incredibly expensive and exhausting, and I think that there's diminishing returns for doing that, and yet what's interesting is that it seems like everybody in the indie scene takes showing at PAX like a must-do. Like, everybody does it, nobody questions it. And yet when I talk about why devs aren't doing streaming, which I feel you can reach an audience that's larger in size than what you would get at PAXes and have better interactions, and also better interactions than on Twitter or any other social media platform, nobody really talks about it. And everyone's like, oh yeah, you know, because it's time consuming, but it's like you can also just do 2 hours a week. You know, I think it's more about having regular schedule, doing it. Yeah, you know, I do an hour and a half. Like, it was very exhausting when I was doing it at night, like at 8:30, because that wasn't a good time. I'd had to like rush through dinner and then come on, and sometimes in the evening, that's when there are like social events going on, right? But for me, 3 to 4:30, that's sort of this kind of dead time in the afternoon. Like, I don't think it's a huge time commitment. You can just make it 2 hours a week. And yeah, you know, it's for me, it's like, it's not even just about reaching an audience. I mean, that's great, but right, like, if you talk nonstop all day while showing the game at PAXes, maybe you talk to 300-400 people, but you can get that amount of people in a stream in like an hour or 2 hours. So, hey, Red Garlic, hello, Ray March. I already said hello to Ray March. Planning on streaming my music making for my game, but I have to buy some stuff like an additional webcam. Yeah, but an additional webcam, even then, it's like, you know, $100-200 versus going to PAX Prime or PAX East, you're looking at $3,000-4,000. And that stuff doesn't scale, right? And it's like, the other thing is, so yeah, in terms of numbers, I think streaming scales very well because you're on the internet. And then the other issue is that it's in your control. Like, you know, I can decide to stream and I can decide what I wanna show and when I'm gonna stream. And that's all up to me. Whereas something like, you know, a lot of devs are like, okay, you know, we'll see if we can get into the IGF, or if we're gonna show at PAX East with Indie Mega Booth, and it's like you have to apply, and you may or may not get in. You know, there's like a ton of there's you might not get it, and then people are like, well, yeah, you can use, like, if you get a nomination or an award at IGN and IGF, and it's like, yeah, those are so hard. I have no idea how those work. I think we started streaming about last year, right? And it was like, and I even changed channels 3 times, so I lost, like, my first channel. I had about 500 people when I switched. But you know, the thing was, there were a lot of devs will do it for like 2. They'll do it twice and just be like, oh, okay, you know, only had like 4 people showed up, so it's not worth it. But I just did it regularly every day. I forget, yeah, it was Willie Cheer. I actually also started setting up a new YouTube channel, but it was time to grow up and leave my childish ways behind. Feel like I shouldn't stream unless I have something interesting or visual that I'm working on. If I'm just fiddling with localization, I don't think people would be interested. I don't think it's like, really, it's not about the content. I think people like hanging out and talking, and it's more, everything is interesting if you explain it that way, right? Like, there are some very interesting ways of doing localization for Bloodborne where things are translated differently, and I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that is interesting. People are like, oh, I don't think coding, and it's like, well, no, if you just kind of talk about it, some of the best times on this stream have been when I was working on shader bugs and so on and so forth, and just kind of explaining what I've been doing. But anyway, today we're coding. Right, so it is, right? And like last year I got you know what's funny is I was reading about Lawrence Fishburne, and Lawrence actually, he used to go by Larry Fishburne. In fact, in Apocalypse Now, he's credited as Larry Fishburne, and Barack Obama used to be Barry Obama. So I think it's all part of the, like, the American story. Right, like last year I applied to 15 events and I got into 2 of them. Do I think it's worthwhile to stream development? Well, I don't know what I'm doing, so, and I did it, and I got to learn a lot, right? Like, people kind of pointed out inefficiencies in my process. I learned about vertex snapping. I learned about some basic debug stuff. I know Jet user thinks I don't do it as much, but now it's like, hey, you know, I know how to, like, do the breakpoint and attach to Unity, sort of, right? I kind of learned that on the stream. So, yeah, I think it's just part of the process. And if you set up that initial pipe, like, I think initially, initially it takes a while to, like, set up how to learn how to use OBS, to kind of get used to thinking out loud, all that, right? And then, like, finding the schedule. So again, when I did it like 7:30 to 9, that was super exhausting, and I really, really did not like that. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I'm telling you, the festivals have very different considerations for the games that they allow, right? It's not just like The Long Dark didn't get into Indiecade, and that's, I think, that's a very high profile game. So it's not like, and then there are games that get into all the festivals and that doesn't translate to commercial, right? And I think, like, if you think of Indiecade, and I think that's okay, because, like, I don't want to go to Indiecade to play a bunch of games that I can play on Steam, right? The whole point of that is that's showing games that, like, would otherwise not find a commercial audience. And for better or for worse, I think my game is amongst indies maybe little bit more on the commercial side of things. So, anyway, it's just something to think about. Yeah, and like as Jet User said, I don't know what I'm doing. The next journey. Oh, I don't know about that. That's big. Um, Maybe the next Dota too. um, all right, so we're gonna work on this. So I actually did not work on any of the programming we did yesterday because I had to send out a bunch of emails. So some updates on the programmer search. I have found someone that I think is going to be a good fit for the team. So if you've applied, you should have gotten an email from me, and I do want to say huge thanks to everybody that applied. I really, really appreciate it. And like speaking of rejections of festivals, right? Not getting in is not necessarily bad on your part. I think basically this person that I'm bringing on, and we'll do like an introduction, but they're based in Charlotte, so they were actually one of the few people that, and it wasn't just the location, right? There were a number of considerations, like he's been working at a studio doing Unity and working on tools. He's like their main tech guy, tech tools guy, but right now it's a studio that does like interactive installation. So he kind of has to work with a lot of existing code base, fast turnaround times, a lot of hardware peripherals, and I think like. So he was like, there were like a lot of people that fit that, but then also I had to consider, well, what's really great is I can work with this person in person, not all the time, but occasionally. I think that's helpful when you're looking at things like game feel, because one of the feedback I got from GDC, I think, and I couldn't feel it, they were like, people were saying, I think there's like a 0.5 second lag with the controller to the input on the screen. And so it's like, I think like that stuff can get very difficult to kind of communicate online, right? Like, do I grab the webcam and show it to them? So I think, or I gotta, it adds kind of an extra step when I'm trying to record bugs, because I have to try to recreate it, record the video, or take a screenshot and then send it to them. Whereas if I can have them here in the room with me, so it's not. But yeah, so there were like a lot. It wasn't an easy decision to make, and I took the time to kind of like look over everyone, and so it was like it's not, rejection doesn't mean like you weren't good, right? It's more just that there were a whole bunch of factors, and then I think this one person's things just kind of lined up. A lot better for exactly what I'm looking for this time. But yeah, I can tell you, it wasn't, I did not enjoy having to send out emails telling people they didn't get the gig. Yeah, but I did send them out to everyone. So anyway, so yes, beep to bleep. Thank you. And I've worked with you remotely, and nothing beats them seeing in person. Zero game. Ray March, where do you live? It might not be zero. It may be just you think it's zero. All right. So we talked about what we need to do for this, which is that. Okay, is this the start? This is not the start. How many women applied? Were you able to get women to apply? So yeah, so that was an interesting thing, that women only applied after I tweeted about it, and I I was like, hey, I was just like, hey, how come like I didn't get any women applicants? And I was more just like, how would even studios diversify the workforce if they're not even getting women to apply? And then actually afterwards several applied, and I think the key there is you really have to like be proactive and reach out, because there's sort of like different social networks where people will post the jobs. So I think I ended up having about five or six apply, and I think it was pretty similar, right? Like overall I had about 60 applicants, and you have, right, like, a few people that just didn't even read the job post because I put Manifold Garden programmer in the subject line, and then some people put like looking for Unity programmer, and it's like, okay, you did not read my job post. Right, and then there were some that were like good but too expensive, and then you have the people like who maybe like weren't able to commit. So it's like of that group that you kind of find people that fit. There's like a whole bunch of reasons why it just wouldn't work with different people. But yeah, so I think in the end it was about 5. So we will. I'll do an official announcement for the new dev. We'll be starting in about on Monday, March 23rd. You gotta put in a 2-week notice. But yeah, we'll have him come on the stream and talk. So yeah, I think that's gonna be pretty exciting. But Raymarch, you know what's cool is like here you can be on Twitch, right? So Twitch can be that's really great about the internet. Right. So let's get this. Okay, so this is where things are gonna start getting interesting because what I want to do is I want to test for this and. What is the line object? The line display. Okay. All right, you know, let's bring a cube here. Oh, and before I forget, there's something I wanted to show you guys that's very cool. Hey, Lidzel. Hey, Major Idea. So this is something that Andy McClure, she sent me this. Unfortunately, you can't download it now because it's like out of date on the website, or the link is broken. But so I posted this kind of joke about gravity switching in games, and she sent me this game she made in 2008. And so first of all, that's really cool. You have you can see all the other levels in the distance, which I think is very cool. Yes, I think there is a lot of not kind of systematic issues with that. Okay, so you have the gravity changing. Again, that's cool. I was like, oh, okay. So first of all, I like this background, right? Like you can see the worlds. That's a very, very cool thing. And then you've got this gravity switching, which it looks a little different because it looks like you're rotating the world, not the player. Okay, and, oh, cool. She's got some neat ideas there with physics. But it also has the world wrapping. So that's kind of cool. It's almost like, so she's been wanting to see these ideas get implemented in 3D. And I mean, Manifold Garden is sort of like this without the enemies, and the kind of the Twitch platforming. But look, this part is where it got very interesting to me because now she's got the physics, the world wrapping, and then it also has it where it's rotated, which I think those would be like quarter turn manifolds. Right, you can see yourself there. So that's anyway. I was sort of surprised that this game in 2008 pretty much has a lot of the ideas that I'm looking at in Manifold Garden, but in 2D. So I'm gonna ask her if she's got a link to it. I thought it was cool. So I'm gonna watch this afterwards. It's an interview with Jonathan Blow, interviewed by Brian Moriarty. Yes, not only US. I remember that game. Oh, hey, Ompuko, what's up? So yeah, we were just kind of talking about I made this kind of silly joke. Basically, someone posted on a Slack group about this, and I thought this was kind of funny to do one. I'm not obviously if you have gravity switching in your game, you should do it. So yes, that is it's a quarter turn manifold. Although I think in this game I wouldn't have quarter turn manifolds, I would have half turn manifolds, because that would mean that the oh, I haven't announced it. I haven't said who the new programmer is. I'll announce there. Yes, no, we are setting up beta testers. Actually, we got a not K3 Vin. Hey, didn't I which stream did I see you on? Was it that Starlight Jillian's stream yesterday? No, we definitely do need beta testers. We're actually I'm looking into setting up something with itch.io this week. I think there's gonna be an announcement on Friday that you guys can watch out for. But we're gonna start doing beta testing with them, and that's I'm gonna set that up this month. And what I want to do there is we're gonna do it in groups. So there's gonna be like a small group initially for whom basically the game is going to be ruined. There's going to be no surprises, and so it kind of depends on where people want to, at what stage of the game they kind of want to jump in on. And then there's going to be like later groups that'll have the whole game together, but it's still very rough, and so on and so forth, kind of like doing it in stages. The problem with this game is that if you've played it, not Kevin, okay, not Kevin, that makes sense. So Praetorian, mono develop. Why not Visual Studio? On a Mac, right. Why is it doing this thing? Okay, I'm trying to figure out why this is getting deleted. What advantages are with MonoDev? I feel like it's got a better debugger. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like Jet User would probably be able to talk about that a little bit better. Oh, and also, if you have a small business, you can get a Microsoft BizDev account. No, what's it called? BizSpark, and you can get a bunch of software for free, which is pretty nice. I think for like 2 years. Yeah. Okay, why is this level taking so long? Oh, but yeah, there were definitely a lot of things I learned with doing the interviews that were very helpful. Huh, what the hell? How long does it take for me to set up? Well, now it doesn't take me anything. I just, when I want to stream, I just pull up OBS and I hit start streaming. It's sort of like, it took time at the beginning. You know, it took time at the beginning to get the settings right. So I think about like a week or two on and off. But now I do it. There's really no overhead. You know, I've got my mic in front of me, and when I'm ready to stream, I just hit. Why? I don't understand why this guy is getting like washed away. Fuck, you know what it is? It's because it's got a box collider. Ugh. This is, oh god, this is the stuff that gets like, this is like the weird stuff that trips me up. Yeah, I think if I have like a box collider on something, it gets disabled. You get 10 copies of Windows with BizSpark? Wait a minute, I pay for Windows. Oh, you know what it was? I think it was because I needed Windows 7. Oh, $200 after 3 years to keep everything. That's pretty good. Yeah, you need to streamline that, set it up, you know, like, this is how I do it, just so you guys know. So there's a number of different scenes. I'm not going to click on them because it'll actually change it, right? But, you know, I have like my intro scene, my end scene, my break scene. If I do full screen camera, that's like, let's see if it changes, right? If I just want to talk to you guys and not show you what's on my screen, but most of the time I'm in the dev scene mode, and by the way, if you are enjoying the stream, you guys should definitely follow the channel. I've got that follow awareness now, so I know when people do it, and then I can give you a shout out. Why did I need Windows 7? I needed like Windows 7 like Ultimate Edition because of the PlayStation Dev Kit setup. This was a while ago. I think I had some like everyone unfollow and refollow all at once. Hey, Karuanas is now following. Hello, thank you for the follow. And Tahoe by Kerr. I think I missed your follow earlier, but thank you. Hopefully that's not super distracting. Guys, come on. Okay, so we have to put that. So now the trick is, how do I So I think this is like it does this weird thing now where it's like if it's under an object that's untagged and it's default, and then it gets deleted, so on and so forth. But okay, we got the line square object. Okay, so we've got this line mesh, and that's the line display. No longer runs on Windows 7. Yikes. God, it's seen Windows 7 forever, yo. Reinit. So I need to set on, I believe that this should be the next. Okay, so see, this is where I'm getting problems. So line displays are an extension of the chainable class, and right now this is not. Yes, that's the problem. Okay, so you know what? We're gonna write a new script. Okay, so this is a line display. Did you guys, what about the all the issues with Windows 10, like sending Microsoft all of your private information? Was there Okay, so what we are going to do, so let me find out where this line display thing is. Let's see, interactables. So we are going to do, this is kind of annoying. This line display should have been, anyway, we're going to say interlockable line end. That's not what I wanted. There is no keylogger. There was never a keylogger. Oh, really? Okay, okay. We can just ask Jet user. Okay. All right. So what we want to do, and I'll talk about this. So this is So we've got this class of things that can be chained together. So for example, what I can have, because I gotta do some testing for myself anyway. So you can see we've got this line here, and what this chainable allows me to do is. Like I can create an independent line, right? So I create this mesh line, boop, boop, bum, bum. Okay, form mesh. So what this lets me do is, because they are all extended, so let's call this line mesh, oh, line mesh 2. So you can see we've got this line mesh. It's asking what is the next line has to be, and it's a chainable. So we connect that here. So what that means is that line mesh 2 will get lit up after line mesh does. And we are going to move our player spawn point to right here so that we don't have to walk very far when I start. Actually, we're going to even minimize it and just have it all be right here. Hey, ether powered, like a sci-fi movie scene or something. Yes, yes, it's Inception meets Interstellar meets Doctor Strange. All sorts of good stuff. And hello, welcome. And Win8 did the exact same thing with Beta, and the panic was all the same. Okay, so what that should do is it should light up the second chain, and you. I am speaking of theories. Wasn't there that thing that was going on for a while about a bunch of games with that symbol inside? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? There was like the Magic Circle had one, and people were trying to see if it was like part of some. There were a number of indie. I think it was some Reddit thread, and it said people were like, "Oh, I've been noticing this symbol in a bunch of different indie games." Fuck. Yeah. Okay, let me see if this runs. Hey, Smoke Lore. We are setting up this sort of like wire chaining system. We're basically making the ends for the wires. Right now, we're waiting for this level to load and run. But anyway, I just had to modify this to. I'm going to change this model behavior because it's like there's a bunch of inherited things that I need to do. Yeah, did anybody ever find that? No? Okay. I was just kind of curious. I remember seeing that and then it faded out. Okay, so what we should do, so you see that there's one line and then that's the second line. Okay, this might not be the best. Okay, actually this is. Okay, obviously that was not the best placement for it, but you can basically see that it's lighting up one line after another. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, one thing I might do is... Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna move this because I'm also realizing as I'm testing this, I don't want to keep having to look up. So... Yeah, I like the pillar. It's good in the final game, but I don't want it for right now. Oh, so why is... This is interesting. It's, for some reason, saving the... It's got the other problem. Yeah, you know what? Let's change this to... Just change this back to mono behavior for now. No, it is. I do... Well, for the thing right now is I actually do want to... Ah, come on. Let's look at this. I mean to remove it. Fuck. So, okay, we'll put that in there. And, let's move this in a bit because it keeps getting in the way. So this will serve as a good test area. So activator button. So we have our square switch. This is where we have our line drawer tool, so drag that into here, we start placing the lines. So I'm gonna kind of place them not normally how I would do it. So good for porting, man. The one thing that makes things not happen without any... Gonna love when you write a complex event chain and have to go on a hunt for which event you forgot to subscribe to. The big blogs, hey, X90Z75EK, those blue blogs were changed from red to blue. That is a glitch. Yes, that's not supposed to happen. But I mean, I know that's just an issue with the shader, so I'm not really too worried about that right now. So we're just gonna do a quick test here. And where is our... Yeah, in fact, we're not even, we're just going to we're not even gonna bother making new ones. We're just going to, oh, look at that. I managed to, okay, no, I didn't get it to line up just right, but close enough. Here we go. Now we'll put this there. Now, so this is that's line mesh line 1, 2 here. Okay, so we're gonna connect these up so you can see in the next one I can put line mesh 1 and line mesh in the next one I put that. So, and then these lines show me where they're connected to. And then finally, so this one is connected to this guy. Okay, so that in will root. Oh, by the way, I applied for a Twitch partnership yesterday, so who knows? Maybe I'll get. We'll see. Fingers crossed for that. Okay, so let's go into play, and then what should happen is you'll see that these three lines line up after one another, so you can chain them together. So what I need to do is I need to write this new object. That's basically the exact same thing, except now you can. It will connect to other things. So it's a little bit more complicated, but that's a good baseline. Oh, come on, man. What error is this? Oh, is something wrong with my mono behavior? What's mono behavior? Why is Unity using why is mono behavior spelled with the British spelling? What does Twitch partnership entail? Not much. The biggest thing is that people can have quality control settings. So like if they find it, they can if they're watching the stream, you can choose between like low quality or source or high depending on your connection. That might not be as big of an issue now. I think we have a lot more viewers on the channel, but still, it's sort of nice to have that option. What else? I think Twitch promotes the partners more. So like if you're going to, and you just get discounts and stuff. Like if you're going to TwitchCon, tickets for partners is like $160, and for everyone else it's about like $400. So that stuff like that is helpful. I mean, really, I think it's just it's kind of a cool stamp of approval from Twitch that you're like. I actually won't. Yeah, the ad avenue isn't really a concern because you have to be like showing a lot of ads in order for that to happen. And I don't want to show ads, or I don't know. Maybe it certainly wouldn't hurt to have. Whoops. I think it certainly wouldn't be bad if like you get some support from this, but. Hey, Jet User, I'll see you around. Yeah, they do the Twitch partner spotlight at the beginning. Which I think is cool. Gotta upgrade PC and install VS then. Centralize in San Francisco, as is all the tech stuff. Alright. So after, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to make some coffee with the French press. I've decided every day at 4 I'm going to make coffee. And I'm going to do it on the stream. If anybody is interested in learning how to use a French press, well, today is your lucky day. You get to learn about game development and making coffee. Really, they go hand in hand. Coffee making is what fuels game dev. And by the way, if you're enjoying the stream, you should definitely follow the channel. I'm also on Twitter. Oh, and ES SWAT. Thank you for following. That was a while ago. I missed that notification. Wait, is there not a Twitch? Can you not eat on Twitch or something? Oh, it's because they like the mukbang thing is banned here. Come on. So you can see down there it's setting the render layer. Portal binding. Oh, fuck. My local pho place always uses one? But you know, there's like a different way of making Vietnamese coffee. Wait, are you fucking serious, Garrett? About eating bananas on Twitch? Did something happen? Okay. Actually, I don't want to know. But they have Chinese sites started banning live streams of women. Okay. All right. Yeah, the only problem with French press is that you kind of have to drink the coffee sort of all at once, because you can't just sort of leave it sitting in there. Yes, please. All right, let's do this. Yo, you guys, yes, I know about the AeroPress. Is that what you use? It looks totally crazy. I might get an AeroPress too. Or maybe, you know, my birthday's actually coming up. Holy shit. Oh my god. So I am turning 29 later this month, and which is pretty crazy because I started this project when I was 25. And I hope to finish this project before I'm 30, as that would basically be half of my 20s. Garrett uses an espresso machine. Garrett is yes. I would love an espresso machine. Yeah, Smokelor, when you say they're cheap too, I'm assuming you're talking about the AeroPress and not the espresso machine. Thanks, Lidzel. But yeah, it's pretty wild. I want to do a, I don't know if I've suggested this before, but I think closer to when the game launches, I want to do a, and then I retire. Thank you, Red Garlic. Thank you, everyone. I want to do a stream, like a 12-hour marathon stream, where I play through all the old builds of the game and kind of talk about the different design thinking. I might have some people, some guest devs. The thing is, like, the earliest... I'd want to start chronologically, so we'd have to start early, and I'd have to get Kevin Zune, who's the creative director of Octodad, to come down here, because he played one of the earliest versions, and... it was pretty far away, so he'd have to leave at 8:30. I don't know if he's like a morning person or not. You know, he'd probably have to leave at 8 because, you know, we want to get, you know, I'll promise him croissants and coffee. Get him to come down, make the trip down. Alright, so now this should be good. So now let's chain this up. Okay, so see, that's working, right? So we've got this chainable, so you guys see that that's lining up. Oh, fuck, you know what, I actually want to show a few things with that. Karana's your tea man, nothing like a freshly brewed cup of Darjeeling or Earl Grey. How do you brew your tea? Do you use a tea bag? I don't know, like, is there a right way to make tea? A wrong way? Okay, let's go over the chain, because I want to talk about all the different things that's supposed to happen. Like there's a number of different. It needs to loose leaf is right way. because you want it needs to like light up from different ways, from different areas. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Variable temperature brewer. Oh, I've got one of those actually. Still haven't developed a taste for tea. I always think of um, Garrett, a microwave and an old sock. The only time I drink tea is when I want coffee, but I don't really want coffee. Man, we gotta do some like profiling with the editor. This is killing me. Okay, so first of all, we are not going to optimize. We're not going to maximize on play. Yes, I have one of those. Oh, second grade stuff like stock pieces and such. I wonder if Karanas is British. Okay, so there's a few things like, so to talk about this, right, you want to get, so the way we had it before was you could choose the direction that it lights up in. So you'll notice there's several things happening here. It's lighting up from one direction. So it needs to remember like which place is coming from. I believe the way we do it is we actually get the length of the entire mesh, and we divide that by the speed, and then when I take off, it's an instant. Or does it? Yeah. Hey, red bulbs. No, there are some cool games. Project High Res is pretty cool. What else is there? Uncharted 4 just came out. Okay, so we have to know. So, okay, so what we're gonna do. So let's take a look at this and fully understand what's happening here. It doesn't look like it. Does it? I think it's no. We haven't really done it. I'm just kind of showing you guys what exactly is happening with the. And I'm getting this bug. Okay, so. Okay, right. So what I am doing now is I want this thing